We are back. Season 4 of the Craft Beer Connoisseurs podcast. I'm Brett. Along with me is two other hosts and a producer. For those of you who are new to the podcast, we like to showcase breweries, their beers, and conclude every episode with a thematic-ish conversation. If you're a casual listener or a seasoned vet, you know what to expect. Producers continue to change short episodes, but the same old connoisseurs will continue to provide top-tier content every single episode. Please feel free to listen to all of our previous episodes and producer specials to get an insight into all of the breweries and beers we've mostly enjoyed. And whether you're new or returning, we are pleased to be your favorite craft beer podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Craft Beer Cons, send a friend request on Untapped, or subscribe on YouTube at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. Also drop a comment, like, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Now, for today's episode. Welcome to the Craft Beer Connoisseurs. I'm Brett.
I'm Tyler. And with us today is producer Sam.
Sam, he is Am.
Sure. We'll go with it.
He's Sam.
Yeah, he is.
I guess he's Sam. So in today's episode, we're going to be reviewing Square Brew out of Goderich, Ontario. This one's been a bit of a time coming, for sure.
I mean, very straightforward. Square and brew.
Yes, exactly.
2 words. 2 beers.
Yes.
2 beers that we're having today. First one is Ontario's West Coast IPA, which, as you guessed it, is an IPA. And the second is Greg's Celtic Fog, which is a pale ale.
Yes. And to finish out the episode, we're going to be talking about virtual reality and simulators. So, Square Brew is located at 430 Parsons Court in Goderich, right at the end of a dead-end road.
Yeah, it's kind of tucked away a little bit, isn't it?
It is tucked a little way in the back. But once you reach that dead end of the street, you might as well stop in for a pint, right?
You're already there.
Yeah, you're already there.
You can't go further.
So taking over after many years, after the building was abandoned, it's been renovated to fit tanks, tap room, a beautifully paved parking lot. Let me tell you that.
You love that paved parking lot,
That paved parking lot is beautiful. With ample space, along with a back patio filled with some of your favorite games, cornhole, Jenga, just name a few.
I guess Jenga is now one of my favorite games.
I think so. I like playing a big version of Jenga.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It's a good hand gesture you did, too.
Yeah.
Founded by Alex Maneri, who happens to be your cousin?
Yes, there is some relation on the Ancestry.ca there, yes.
How deep of a dive do we have to do?
I haven't looked at the Ancestry.ca, but it is on my mother's side.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. There you go. UK trained.
Yes.
And worked at Block 3 and Amsterdam, actually. Square Brew now focuses their beers that he likes to drink in an atmosphere that they all enjoy. Yep. So, again, brewing for yourself, which hopefully translates to brewing for everybody else. It's been, kind of a local watering hole in Goderich. They enjoy going there, all the locals, and some of the tourists.
I mean, it is Canada's prettiest town, after all. There's got to be some tourists, right?
So they say. But, again, it's a little bit off the beaten path.
Yes, it is a little bit off the beaten path.
You got to know where you're going.
Yeah. There is a sign that points you in the direction.
Which is good.
Also, if you have a smartphone, you can just GPS the address.
A what phone? A smartphone?
A smartphone. An iPhone,
one of them smartphones, yes.
Yes, they're smarter than me.
Well,
amazing. It's true. So Square Brew is also an event space for music, weddings, actually, if you're like a nice little low-key wedding.
No.
No, you like a big wedding, don't you?
Big wedding guy.
Big wedding.
Big wedding guy.
And new for the winter, they kind of purchased this in the spring, but kind of aren't really introducing it till, it gets cold outside. A golf simulator.
Yes. That brings us to our theme conversation, doesn't it?
Exactly. So it's one of the first breweries to introduce that, because obviously golf simulators have become very popular in the last few years.
For sure.
Right? So
yeah, it's
good that they could bring that in to utilize it.
Yeah, well, let's see if it takes off. I looked into that. I mean, they're not too expensive, which is good. So you can get
I thought you were going to say, see if it tees off.
No, but you could get a good ROI on that. Now, let's talk about the brew itself beyond just that stuff that you just mentioned, Brett. Inside the tap room, very open, very accessible. Obviously, they've put that to the forefront. So they wanted to make sure that it's very easy for people to kind of move around. Large space.
Yes.
So people can kind of go around, come from the beach, downtown square, which is actually, again, an octagon, which we'll kind of talk about. Shapes are hard.
They are, aren't they?
And then, so you can kind of sit down either inside or you can sit down outside. Lots of picnic tables, both in and out.
Yes. So out on Tapped, Square Brew has created 58 different beers and seltzers, or what they would like to call them, Goderich Waters.
Goderich Waters. Right?
I
don't know, something about that title just rubs me the wrong way.
It's better than Walkerton Water. Anyway, with an average rating of 3.53 out of 5 and just over about 5,000 check-ins.
Now, I think that everybody except for Chris has been there.
Correct. I believe us three have been there at the same time, actually.
Yeah, I think so. I'm
going to say that can be like August or September of 2019, perhaps?
Yeah. Sam's parents were there, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we sat in the back right-hand side.
Yeah.
It was very lovely.
It was.
Did they also have like a basketball thing there too?
Yes, I believe they had like one of those, things you see in
arcade?
arcades and whatnot.
Yeah, like
and obviously they got a
shots.
projector there for like big games like Stanley Cups and MLB and stuff like that when they need to as well, right? So
I thought you could just say big games like Stanley Cup and big games and such.
Hey, there we might have. No, I'm just saying we wouldn't have won that tournament that we beat in Goderich.
No,
we were just there a couple weeks ago for that final tournament that we probably didn't win.
Yeah.
But we would have tried our hardest, and that's what matters. But we probably would have stopped in. So myself, I've had 15 check-ins, with the highest rated being the Shut-In, which was a hazy citrus IPA, and Hippie Bus, which was a hazy blonde ale, and my ratings for those were a 4.
Very good.
Yes, Tyler.
Yeah, so I've had 9 check-ins. The highest rated was the single hop. We've talked about the single hop series from a lot of different breweries. The Strata, which was a 4.5, is the highest I gave. Again, I like a clean single hop beer. Let me know what I'm drinking. Let me know how to rate it. Let me know how to recognize it in the future. Chris has had 7 check-ins of that, much like he is right now, a shut-in. The beer was called Shut-In, and give it a 4.75.
And you know what? Just a side note here is that at the beginning when we introduced ourselves, we didn't even say that he's not here.
You know what?
It's just proven knowledge that he's not.
Until he shows up, maybe we just drop it, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think we need to include him anymore until he shows up again.
Talk us about Sam the Record Man.
Yes. So 14 check-ins, his highest rated being the single hop Strata as well.
Very nice.
A 4.25.
Glad we could do that together.
So Square Brew, within the past few months, I don't know actually why we didn't grab this when we were in Huntsville a couple months ago, but they did a collab with Sawdust.
Okay, good.
The Lo Centro, I believe is how you say that.
Lo
Centro.
There you go.
A Mexican amber lager with one of the brewers, not the head brewer, but one of the brewers from Sawdust City.
So this came up on our producer special. They asked us anything. And we talked about, cervezas and Mexican lagers. And is this the summer for them? Was it the summer for them? This kind of shows it a little bit that, they were out there in the summer.
Yes, they were there.
And again, an amber lager, a little bit different.
Yes, so and a Mexican amber lager?
Yeah.
Even different.
But that's what I'm saying, right? Like the cervezas. So flat rate shipping across Ontario, it really depends on location. So they're one of these breweries that base on where you live.
Yeah. And obviously, shipping costs have got higher, so you see more and more breweries doing that these days in terms of where you're at to get as many beers as possible. So obviously, order them in bulk, get some friends.
Stock up and share, baby.
Exactly, right? So taproom hours, Sunday and Monday, 12 to 5, and they are closed on Tuesdays. Pretty sure it's brewing day. And then Wednesday to Saturday from 12 till 7.
That's good. That was my next question. What's Tuesdays? All right. You know what? Why don't we do what we always do? Let's link their information on our social media.
And we should square ourselves up for the first one, shouldn't we?
We should.
All right.
All right, we're back. First things first, we got to thank Alex from Square Brew for providing the beers for today's episode.
Yes, thank you for putting them in my hand, I guess.
Ma familia.
Yes.
All right, so the first beer that we're going to have is Ontario's West Coast IPA, which, of course, is listed as an IPA, which we discussed at the very beginning of this episode. Not more than 8 minutes ago. This is a 6.8% ABV, and the IBUs are unlisted.
And of course, little can discrepancy again, 6.5% on the can. Just to let you know, obviously, maybe the first run of this was 6.8 and kind of toned down a little bit since then. So, but we've seen that mistake from Untappd before. Untappd really doesn't go back and change things. So
I think you got to go back and edit it. I don't know.
So it just is what it is.
I don't know how that works from the brewery perspective. I think.
Yes, you need to open a brewery to find out.
We should do that.
Yeah, I think we should. So this beer is an IPA brewed with barley, oats, and wheat, hopped with American and Canadian hops, and fermented with Norwegian farmhouse yeast. It is light-bodied, aromatic, and super refreshing, with a slight haze and citrus flavor. This one is the IPA you will always want in your fridge.
You think so?
I think so.
That's what it says.
Yes. So follow us on Instagram at Craft Beer Cons and on Untappd at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. Wait.
Do it all, Brett.
Wait. You've done it. Thank you. The rating for Ontario's West Coast IPA is 3.64 out of 5 with 535 check-ins. We do have 21 friends on Untappd who have checked it in with a 3.66 average rating.
Very good.
You may go ahead now, Tyler.
Oh, thank you. So out of that, actually, there are 4 5 out of 5s. Sam coming in with the informations.
Man.
All right. Let's grab that glass, grab that can, and let's open her up.
A little splashy splash there, but we're good.
All right. So we are drinking this out of an IPA glass. So make sure you use your proper glassware, as somebody who isn't here would say.
Who would that be?
I'm not saying it.
Okay.
A lot of condensation on this.
I mean, my
can.
wife is a big fan of glassware, so I'm assuming it's probably that.
When you say a big fan of glassware, do you mean a big fan of breaking glassware? Because
Yes.
we've heard that.
Yes, she has done that. Yeah, she's broken more IPA glasses than I have this year.
Now, before recording this, we did pull this out of the fridge not too long ago, but there's a lot of condensation on this can.
Yes, there is.
She's a little.
Might be a little bit cold, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's hot in here.
It is hot.
So
in
the
here.
drink is cold.
That's why the condensation's there.
Exactly.
What do you see, Brett?
So I see exactly, what you would prototypically see from an IPA. Looks a little bit more hazy, almost like a Midwestern IPA.
Okay.
Right. It's a little hazy, but again, the solid color that I'm looking for in IPA.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kind of typical. On the nose, what do you smell? This one's a little different for me. I don't know. Sam, did you smell this? Smell this and see what you can smell off of it.
I'm getting a kind of floral and a little bit of pine.
Yeah,
What are you getting?
it's different.
Okay.
I don't even know how to kind of like describe it. I
Is that
guess a little floral.
You still got that ragweed going in there, or what?
It could be, but yeah, there's a floral aspect of it for sure.
Getting a little. I don't know if I'm getting a little bit of honey, maybe.
Maybe.
All right. Well, anyway, I mean,
You know what? We should just taste it.
I
know?
think that is an excellent idea.
Okay.
So we should do that.
Very good. One thing I will mention here is producer Sam has actually had this beer the last time that we were there, the three of us, right? So, all right, I'm going to try it out.
Give me your honest thoughts there, good sir.
Yep.
Yep, it's a beer. Done. Thank you.
Yeah, it tastes similar to how it smells. So there's something that's just a little bit different with it. I don't know. I don't know how to kind of explain it. There's whether it's the hops or what it might be, but there's just something. It's a little off-putting, to be honest with you.
It's almost like now I use this in a weird context, but dank, but a bad dank.
Yeah, there's just something a little bit off.
Right? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's trying to be a juice bomb, but it's not getting to that juice bomb aspect of things.
Yeah, we're not really juicy. I'm just kind of looking at. I think part of it might be this farmhouse yeast.
Yep.
So there's some very good like earthy tones to it, and that's where I'm kind of thinking that this is coming from. I'm not getting a whole lot of the citrus flavor, but the farmhouse yeast is giving it that, and it's close to like a very saison feel to it. Like it's almost like a IPA with a saison kind of twist.
Yeah, no, I could agree. I could dabble in that with you.
So I would say maybe that floral really isn't floral for me, but it's more of like an earthy, grassy kind of feel.
Almost like it's getting like a little bit of orange peel.
You're getting some of the citrus?
Yeah, a little bit of citrus, but it's like maybe almost like a bad rind.
Okay.
If you kind of know where I'm going with there. Do you? No, you don't know where I'm going with that.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's just something a little bit different for me.
Yes, no, I
and
agree with
again, I think it's that earth kind of aspect, right? All right. Well, we'll keep drinking it as we do. Let's go to the top 5 flavor profiles. I'll start them up, and then we'll take the comment from Sam after the 5.
Yes.
And then if Sam wants to add some of the flavor profiles as we go through, that'd be great. Number 1, hoppy.
I think the hop flavor is there, but it's not coming through like you want it to.
Yeah, I think it's more the yeast. The yeast flavor instead of the hop flavor. So I don't really find it hoppy. I think it's just very yeasty. Again, and then that farmhouse kind of like feel to it. Number 2, citrusy.
A little bit. I get it more so on the back end than the front end, but it's still not. It shouldn't be number 2.
Yeah, not there for me.
But it's there slightly. It's a subtle citrusy.
Number 3, refreshing.
It's cold currently, and it's hot in here, so yes, it's very refreshing.
Good. Glad we could help out with that. 4 is piney. Not overly piney,
No.
but I do see some of the pine coming through. But I'm getting very much like, again, floral, pine, earthy taste. So it's very, I don't know, grassroots organic, I'll say.
The old organic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 5 is floral.
A little bit here and there, but nothing. I don't think it should be in the top 5. Producer Sam, mouth coating, earthy.
Yeah, I see
agree with
that.
that,
The
yeah.
mouth coating too, I think is a good one because it does kind of stick around, which
Yeah, it
is
does
kind of
stick
the
there.
off-putting part for me because it's not really. He doesn't finish quick too, so because of that earthiness, I'm just not a big earthy kind of fan.
Yeah. Herbaceous, also another one that.
Ooh, now he's just
a big old fancy thesaurus guy.
expanding that lexicon.
Right?
Okay, very good.
So speaking of maybe other,
Before we get to that, the one point that I wanted to mention from Sam
sorry,
too
go
was
ahead.
tastes much different than it did off the tap, which is interesting.
Yes, and also maybe the could have been skewed because that was 3 years ago or 4 years ago, whatever it was. But
Yeah, could be a little
maybe
bit
he's
of a
got memories
difference.
of that too. Who knows?
Now go ahead, Brett.
But the other people have had this beer,
Yeah,
including
the first one.
the first one that you're going to gladly state right now.
Oh well,
in
Paul
terms of what he
M.
had.
The handle is Mixter. Stated the following: quite piney, it leaves a lingering nutty aftertaste, but a smooth mouthfeel. 3.5 out of 5. Okay, interesting. Yeah, nutty aftertaste. I could kind of taste some of that.
And the second one comes from Ron V, and his handle is Ron_Venderlind_4530. Said, definite note of pine on the palate. The can references citrus, which I can't really detect. However, it still goes down well with the 60 IBUs. So again, this is according to the vendor at the Goderich Farmers Market, that 60 IBUs were involved with this. We did state that the IBUs were unlisted earlier. And he gave it a 4 out of 5.
He did he?
Yes, he did. But Tyler, what will you give it?
Yeah, so I'm going to go a little low on this one, actually. Not really kind of enjoying where it is, especially with some of the West Coast IPAs I have had previously. I'm going to go and give this a 2.25.
Okay.
You want to say Chris? I guess we'll throw
Yeah, you might as
Chris
well
in
do
here.
Chris's, yeah.
Chris is going to give it a 4.0. Really thinks it's tasty.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
At the opposite ends of the spectrum, for sure.
Yep.
Myself, I gave it a 3.75 before. I'm going to go a little lower and just give it a 3.5.
Now, when you had it as a 3.75, was it out of the can or was that...
Both versions. Can, tap,
Okay,
everything.
very good.
Yes.
Producer Sam, what Sam give
So
it?
off the tap, he gave it a 3.5, but a 2.5 today. So are we combining that into your overall rating, or do you want to stick with a 2.5 because it's today?
We go with today's
Okay,
rating,
we'll
yeah,
do
for sure.
2.5,
That's going to give us an overall of a 3.0625, which we're going to round down to an even square of 3.
Or octagon of 3.
There you go. We'll be right back with beer number 2.
The second beer we're having today is Greg's Celtic Fog. I have no idea who Greg is,
But
but
we know
apparently
he's got a
he's got a
Celtic
beard
Fog.
named after him.
Yeah, he's got a Celtic Fog.
Apparently. So this is a hazy pale ale, but on Untappd is listed as an American IPA, but label says a hazy pale ale, so we're going to go with that. 4.0% ABV. IBUs are unlisted.
Very good. So this beer is brewed in collaboration with the Goderich Celtic Roots Festival. This is a hazy pale ale brewed to be light and drinkable, but also full of flavor and is best enjoyed outside listening to live music, which makes sense why they're with the Roots Festival.
Yes. I've never been to the Goderich Celtic Roots Festival.
Sam, have you been? No. Neither have I.
Okay. So that makes 3 of us that have not been.
There you go.
That's actually where Chris is today.
Could you imagine?
He's not there.
He's not there.
But we tried. We tried to save you.
Absolutely. So, on Untappd, the Celtic Fog has a rating of 3.37 out of 5, so not particularly great, with over 144 check-ins. 7 of our friends have actually had this with a lower than that average at 3.11 out of the 5. Mm-hmm. Okay?
So yeah, that's all the information that we have. So
I don't know if there are any 5 or 5s with it.
no, there's not.
All right.
Yeah. I think they're made in like 4.75 or 1.45 or something like that. But
Okay.
no 5 out of 5s.
All right. So let's grab our glass. And let's grab our beer. And let's open her up. Very good. Very good.
Look at that. Look at that.
All right. So we are drinking out of a pint glass. Yeah, we'll just see here. I've poured. Brett, you're pouring. Good. Sam, you've got yours. Excellent. All right. For a pale ale, this is giving very lager-looking vibes.
I was just going to say that, actually.
Really?
It looks like a lager to me right now.
Yeah.
Very more clear than what you expect from a hazy pale ale.
Just roll over on myself there. There we go. Yeah. Very much so. Kind of apple juicy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Sam's not even typing anymore. He's just you probably didn't pick up on Sam's voice, but
like a grapefruit apple juice combination thing.
said that's what it smells like.
Yeah.
As soon as I said apple juice, he's like, that's what it smells like. And I didn't smell it yet. So yeah.
But you can definitely, when you open the can and pour it, you can definitely get the I'm not going to say odor from it, but you're going to definitely get the scent from it.
Sure.
Because odor's a bad word to use, but
No, I don't no, I
scent
think it's
from
it's not a bad
the
word.
can itself.
The beautiful thing, though, is that it's not really translucent. So it does, as the paleness, I can't see your face through it, Brett. So
I can't see your face because my hand is covering the area.
well, that's why you grab the bottom, not
Yeah,
put.
I
Yeah,
know.
there you go.
There it is.
See, I can't see you, so
I can see your. Oh no, I can see you somewhat.
Yeah, it serves its purpose. It's blocking you out.
The vision of you is hazy,
There you go.
if you will, through the can or through the glass. I should say.
I was gonna say beer glasses. Yeah,
I think this one might have some lacing on her though.
she might.
Yeah, it looks like that. The head does kind of dissipate very quickly.
Sure.
Still got obviously your little bubbles and whatnot, but not the head that maybe you expect from a pale ale, hazy pale ale style.
There you go.
But,
I'm gonna start drinking it.
I think that's a great idea. We should do that right now. You can. I'll drink now while you give your full thoughts on it while you get the swallow down there.
Yeah. Strong, bold flavor. Really kind of hits the back of the throat, right? So you gotta be careful when you're drinking this one that you just don't take too big of a mouthful. I think. Yeah, it's a different kind of pale ale, right? Because it is a little bit lighter on the lager side of things almost. But there's a mouthfeel that's just there, right?
I'm trying to figure out like what it is.
It's
that
the
I'm
dankness.
tasting.
It's a dankness.
It's not that though.
There's a dank, earthy tone to this.
Yes. So the one thing that has been kind of utilized in beers, and I need to do a little bit more research on this, is the hop oil.
Okay.
So it almost it tastes oily.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you at all?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, there is natural oils with general hops that you're using, but I think that part of this is, again, kind of that concentrated oil aspect, right? And I mean, I'm not a huge guy when it comes to like cannabis oils, right?
For sure. Yep.
But hops and cannabis are very similar. And so I think that the hop oil in this, that's kind of where I kind of am bringing this to, is there's this dank earthiness to it.
So I'm just trying to kind of do a little bit in terms of a hop oil versus an actual hop.
Okay. Little education. Are we going to
Yes,
save? Do you want to save this for
Or
a
so I
producer
shouldn't
special?
say
Maybe?
say hop oil, but hop extract.
Sure. Do you want to do that now?
Yes.
Okay.
So the hop resin extract can be used for flavor and aroma, but may not be as intense as the pellets or the actual hops used. So it's going to have a reduced IBU utilization with reduced boiling time, much like hop pellets. Sorry. The hop resin has a higher utilization efficiency than the leaf or the pellets, roughly about 5% more.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel as though it's one of those things where you're not getting as intense flavors because you're not getting the actual hop. You're just getting it, it really condensed in an oil. Versus if you're using a Creole hop or a Citra hop and you're using the actual hop in here, it may come out better because it tastes a little grimy at the back end. Like if you taste it and then it's almost like having like a protein shake that's not like fully mixed in, so you're still getting a little bit of that ground protein at the bottom.
Okay.
That makes you, yeah.
Yeah. Again, for me, there's like a dank earthiness kind of aspect to it that kind of just sets a bit off. Top 5 flavor profiles. Why don't we walk through what on tap's got here?
Yes, so number 1, hazy.
There's some haziness to it, yeah.
A little bit, but
I wouldn't really call it
when you
that,
say hazy pale ale, you don't expect it to be like that.
No.
Number 2, light.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
3.
And I think from a pale ale perspective, for sure, like it's giving me very lager-y kind of vibes.
Number 3, bitter.
I'd go dank.
Okay. Yeah. If there was ever a grainy as a profile on top,
That's what you're getting? Okay.
Yeah. Number 4, grapefruity.
Yeah, I'm not getting any kind of fruit flavor at all in this. Again, very earthy, very danky. Yeah, that's the vibe.
And number 5, hop oil.
Yeah, is that a flavor profile?
It is now, apparently.
Is that in there?
That is actually in there. I'm pretty sure it is in there.
Okay.
Producer Sam gonna really check
Check
this.
that out, yeah. Yeah, if it is, I could see it, sure.
Yeah.
It is different. Like it definitely is different than.
But I think it's good for us to have one of these, have a beer like this that we can kind of utilize, the Prud'homme and all that stuff, that we understand the difference between
The beers. Yeah.
Actual hops, pellets, and then extract
The
oils,
extract
however you
oil.
want to say it, right?
Yeah, Sam says it's in there for
So
sure.
I think this is probably one of the first ones that we've seen and taste that really utilizes the hop oils.
Sure.
They can definitely get that from, because a lot of the other beers necessarily have just used, pellets or other avenues of going down, right?
Yeah, I would have liked to see this done a little bit differently. But again, this isn't a beer made for me. This is a beer made really for Alex.
Or Greg.
Or Greg.
All right. And his frog that's on the can.
It's true. I wonder if we know Greg, I'm starting to think, a piper named Greg.
Hallucinating Greg.
Might have also played fastball. Might have been a pitcher. Tough to say.
Oh, yes. Might have been a paramedic.
It's true.
Yes.
All right. Untapped thoughts. What do you got, Brett?
So the first one comes from Mark W., and his handle is Big Kahuna 69.
That's good for Mark.
Yep, exactly. Smooth pale ale, hoppy notes and aftertaste, but not overpowering.
And what did they rate it?
They rated it a 3.75 out of 5.
Very good. The next one is Joel M., and the handle is JCR Melton. They gave it stated the following, actually. A dinner reheating pale ale. Barn floor hops or just a lot of crystal malts? Rated at 3.75 out of 5. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it was a unique, because they didn't really give any more description to the barn floor hops.
Yeah.
Right? But, yeah, I mean, they're entitled to what they want to, and that's it is what it is. In terms of my rating, I have not had this one before. Myself, I feel like it has potential, but the oil is really just off-putting for me.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Okay, good. Chris is going to give it a 2.5 as well. I've had it before, and I've given it a 2.5, I think. And I'm going to stick with a 2.5. I believe I will do that. Producer Sam originally gave it 2.5. He's going to drop it down to a 2.0. So it's 3 2.5s and a 2, which is going to give us an overall score of 2.375, which will round up to a 2.5.
Yes. So that concludes the review of Square Brew and the beers provided for today's episode.
Sure does. Now we're going to be back with a little thematic conversation. We were talking about simulators earlier on. Let's talk about simulators again.
Absolutely.
All right, we're back. And we are living in reality right now.
Yep. Yeah, I'm real.
This is as real as it gets for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you
I got
go.
out of the house today.
Hey, congratulations,
Thank
man.
you.
I'm proud of you.
I got out of the house a lot, but not for this.
It's true. So kind of inspired by what Square Brew is doing with the virtual reality, I guess not really reality, this the simulator for golf. Wanted to have a bit of a discussion about virtual reality / simulators. Let's do our traditional kind of roundtable of where we're at. We'll kind of split a little bit of the producer Sam's comments up a little bit on this one. But let's talk virtual reality simulators. So for myself, not a whole lot of experience with this simulator kind of aspect for the most part. There is some things that, I've played simulation games before.
Yep.
I would love to have like really kind of like dove into like a flight simulator. And I used to play that with a joystick a little bit, but there's too much going on.
I also don't think that when you're a pilot, you fly with a joystick.
You do in helicopters.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just it though. It's like it was just too complicated for my small little brain. But in terms of like simulators, I haven't done a whole lot. I've never done a golf simulator, but I've never really been a golf guy personally. So that's just me. I think there are some really cool ones coming out, and I'll save some of my comments because I do see that Sam's got them written down too. So I think we'll probably be in the same kind of boat that way. I'll talk about producer Sam's right now.
Go ahead.
Doesn't really have much experience with simulators still. Does have some individuals that he actually works with that have some personal golf simulators. And this is what I was talking about.
High rollers.
It's not that much. Like the actual tracking system and a projector, I mean, you're probably like $3,000 in by the end of it. But all things considered, if that means you're golfing whenever you want in a garage, any time of the year, $3,000 isn't that
it's
big
also
of a
a
deal.
way for golf courses to make money during the winter months too, right? Like they're making a lot of money for that.
Well, I mean, if these subscribe, I guess there's probably some kind of like royalty going back to the company. But for yourself, is like if you didn't want to pay like a membership rate, and I don't know how they entirely work, but if you were out there and that was what you had, you're saving money instead of going and paying for a golf membership too, right? So things you can work on. So that's kind of really cool. They do have weekly challenges that you could do as like with your friend group, which is kind of a cool thing. So this is good information, and and then you can kind of select, where you're at on like a PGA Tour kind of aspect.
Pebble Beach,
Yeah, I think it'd be
Pebble Beach is in every freaking game, so it doesn't matter. But
yeah, I think it'd be kind of a cool thing to have if like you're going to retire and spend $3,000 on something like that. Sure.
Right.
Again, I'm not a big golf guy, but
some people go to Florida for the winter. Some people buy a golf simulator. It all depends.
It's true. It's true.
Myself, I mean, I've done golf simulators a couple times. I personally enjoy it just for that I don't have to putt.
So could you give me a bit of a rundown of how it works?
So, for example, we'll use, I don't know, what kind of golf course are you familiar with? Let's go kind of like Sawgrass. You know what Sawgrass is?
Yeah,
like
Sawgrass.
Okay, we'll do the island green. Okay.
Sure.
So 17 island green, it's about 120 yards. So for me, it'd be probably a pitching wedge or 9 iron, depending on where the wind's playing.
Sure.
Because obviously you do have 10 mile per hour winds. It's literally like, you had PGA there for a little bit, on PlayStation. Yeah. It's literally the same thing, except instead of going up and down on your analog stick, you're actually swinging the golf club.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The only thing is, putting is a very unique thing when it comes to a golf simulator. So necessarily, they say if you're within a certain amount of distance, they give you either 1 putt or 2 putts.
Okay.
Depending on, there's some simulators that you can authentically putt, but the ones that I've played, at least, once you get on the green, depending where you're at, they'll give you 1 putt or 2 putt and kind of go from there.
Okay.
So, obviously, it's pretty accurate in terms of the measurement, I would say.
Sure.
Within, I would say, 5 yards of what you can actually shoot. But it is a unique experience. And obviously, most times you're aided by food and drink. When it comes
for
to
sure.
it, right?
It's a social thing.
Exactly. It's a social thing. It's a thing to get out and do some exercise and of your arms swinging back and forth and your beer curls. But I decent. Like I wouldn't go to it every day or every week, but a couple times during the winter time would be totally fine by me.
Yeah.
In terms of virtual reality stuff, I really haven't done.
Well, let's split that up. Okay. We'll do simulators kind of stuff right now.
But also, I kind of find simulation stuff. I play that a lot. Maybe not as much as I used to, but MLB The Show and NBA, that technically is a simulation style game, right? So I'm playing those when I get an opportunity to do so, which is
you haven't been on a PlayStation in 10 days, I think it says.
10 days? Wow, I'm thinking more like a month, but okay.
Yeah, maybe you just logged in accidentally once.
Probably, yeah.
It's terrible.
Right. Yeah, no.
It's terrible.
Ball season is pretty much done now, so you'll see that change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you say that every time. I go ahead and I buy a game thinking you're going to play with me, and you never do.
2K24 is coming out, though.
And
I have $100 every year. And I have $100 in PlayStation gift cards. So I am buying it.
Breaks my heart. Yes. Well, we'll see how.
But 7'7" for center who can't run. It's me.
We'll see. We'll see how much you can dedicate your time to it. So that's kind of like the golf simulation. Before we flip over to virtual reality, one thing that I want to mention, which is great that Sam mentioned this. Down in Houston, Texas, there is a home run dugout which is like a simulated batting kind of bay. There's also the food and drink. So it's very much Top Golf-esque, I believe. Okay. So very much like a Top Golf kind of aspect of it. I would love to do that too. So maybe that's the next trip is we take a trip down to Houston. I mean, is it really worth it for that? Probably not, but it could be.
Yeah, I mean,
there's breweries there.
Do a little bit of Houston and Arlington and get Astros and Rangers in there. Minute Maid's supposed to be feel good too.
Yeah, which would be actually pretty sweet too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen some TikToks and Instagram videos about the home run dugout, and it looks pretty sweet.
Pretty good, yeah.
I'll probably get food poisoning and not be able to make it. But
yeah, those pre-cooked, pre-made hot dogs that
yes,
anybody can have.
Yes, but in other respects, yes. I think that would be. I know we've kind of talked about kind of thrown out in terms of where should we go next year for a ball trip? But maybe that's the one.
Maybe Houston's
or maybe it's one of those things where it's like a Top Golf. It stops off at one location. All of a sudden, 2, 3, 4, and all of a sudden it's in every big city in the States, right?
Could take off.
And it could take off, and before you know it, there's one in Boston next year. There's one in New York or Chicago or whatever else, right?
Yeah, maybe there's one in London. We'd have to go far at all.
That's probably not going to happen.
No. Now, from the virtual reality standpoint, I do actually have a VR headset for my PlayStation 5, so the VR 2. I haven't played it as much as I kind of want to.
You probably use that as much as I use my PlayStation.
Probably a little bit less, maybe.
There you go.
The reason for it is just because of the space right now. When I get, I guess, kind of things set up here in my new place,
yes,
it'll be a lot easier.
Much more space for activities.
There won't be a coffee table in the way that I have to kind of navigate.
Well, you don't know that. You could put your coffee table in the way.
Oh, I know. I have it all designed out.
Yes, you got your architecture plans in there?
It's everything's figured out. So I hope to play a little bit more. I have done the demo for like NFL, and it is pretty wild when you get in there. Like you're setting the plays up, and everything you do, you look left, you look right. When you throw the ball, it feels pretty good. It is mind-boggling because you want to move your body, but you got to be careful not to just start like covering for a block or something like that.
What happens when you get sacked? Do you fall down?
I feel like I do. I feel emotionally upset with myself if I get sacked and let that happen.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's pretty wild. But other than that, I haven't been to some of these locations that you can actually do like virtual reality with a bunch of people in the same space. I've never done that, but there is like a bit of a motion sickness that you have to kind of get used to.
Yes.
And then once you're over that, it's pretty interesting, pretty cool to put yourself in a different kind of world than what you're at. Take your headset off and. Yeah, I mean, it sounds a little geeky. I get that, a little nerdy, but I mean, it's sometimes reality's tough, and you got to go to virtual reality.
Yeah, for sure. I've kind of been, or will be, I should say, the taste tester of this at work, but we have looked into the aspect of buying a few virtual reality headsets for different jobs.
Yeah, do some on-the-job training.
On-the-job training virtually, like if you want to know how it is to work in a restaurant or manufacturing or things like that, to be able to do it virtually.
Yeah.
So we've looked into that, and I think we're going to end up purchasing a couple of them, and I'm going to be the test dummy, not taste dummy.
For maybe looking your headset.
Maybe
you want to
things have really went astray with that, but for different programs and whatnot that we're going to be offering come later on and next year or whatever. But so it'll be interesting to kind of utilize that and see how those things kind of operate. Other than that, I haven't used virtual reality probably at all.
Yeah.
But being the technology guy at work, apparently I was the one summoned for that.
Sure.
So I'm going to go to a conference in November about how those things work and how to utilize them. So that'll be fun.
Yeah,
but
I would like to see. I know they exist, but not right now with the PlayStation one. But I'd like to see like a baseball one come because take the Wii Sports kind of baseball, mix it with a virtual reality, and like. You could pick like your pitcher, your stadium that you want to hit in, and see how that kind of goes, right?
I remember they had the PlayStation Move way back when.
Yeah,
yes, that was a good time up in Sam's room.
Up in Sam's.
Yes.
What were you doing in Sam's room?
Playing MLB 12, the show Home Run Derby. It was myself, Sam, and a person who actually just I think struck out like 24 guys in a 15-inning game in the men's. Fast pitch championship.
There you go.
Ty Sebastian.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, it was quite time. He didn't win, though. I believe I did. Let me just crack the back here for the win there.
Yeah. But I do think that they'll have something. I know it does exist on different platforms, but it'd be cool if they had something for the PlayStation 1 because obviously I have all that stuff. I mean, they're not cheap, but like, again, the graphics and everything else, they're right where they need to be. To kind of make it worth it. I think it'd just be really cool to go up and be like, oh, I'm going to pick Randy Johnson. and I'm going to pick, I don't know, Coors Field or something. So if I do ever connect on one, maybe it could go 455 feet or something.
For sure. Absolutely.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yes.
But. All right. Anything else virtual reality and or simulation based?
I think we are good to go.
All right.
Time for the farewells, I think.
We'll be right back with our farewell. All right, that's going to be it for today's episode. Thanks again for listening. Keep on listening every other Thursday as Craft Beer Connoisseurs releases a new episode, and on our off Thursdays for a producer special.
And make sure to tell your friends, family, and your favorite Greg.
Yeah, Greg. So from all of us, Chris included, I suppose.
Maybe.
And producer Sam, I'm Tyler.
I'm Brett, and together we are the Craft Beer Connoisseurs.